Hello and welcome back to the She Who Glows podcast. I'm so excited that you're tuning in and listening to this one today because this is something that's really close to my heart with body image and mindset. That has been something that I've been through within my life as well, and something that I continue to keep working on as well. And we have an amazing guest today, which is Emma, who we connected through Hot Pod Yoga when I moved back to my hometown, and what she's doing for people is so transformational and amazing. So I'm so excited for you to hear her journey, but also what she's doing for other people. So welcome, Emma. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be on the podcast.
Oh, I'm excited to have you as well. We obviously recorded yesterday, me being on your podcast and talking a lot on like intuition, manifestation, mindset stuff as well, but like going deep into like some spiritual side of stuff. And we realized that we work quite well together, don't we? Because a lot of, even though you do a lot of internal work as well, you probably work a little bit more on the physical side of stuff with people. So just to give a bit of a background, I'll ask Emma to like expand on it as well. Emma owns a business called Feel Your Best. First of all, love the name. Simple, just what it says on the tin. It's to feel your best. And she's been through a transformation in her body physically. She's lost some weight, and I'll let you say how much and all of that in a moment. And she's also made such a shift within her mindset, and she realized that it was actually her mindset and the way that she thought about herself was what she wanted to shift and change. And working on the physical as well obviously helps with that. But Emma, please tell us more about your journey and what was it that made you go, I need to change here, something needs to shift.
Yeah, so it's been a journey, and I feel like you never fully get to like the end of your journey. You just on it. There are just
Mm.
parts of life when you transition into things that feel like bigger moments. Um, and for me, when I look back on how my life has changed in the last 5 or 6 years, like I was a completely different person 5 or 6 years ago. I was extremely insecure, kind of riddled with grief and just this insecurity within myself, feeling pretty lost, I would say. Um, and use various forms of coping mechanisms. So just being with guys that weren't necessarily right, um, toxic relationships, and also just like making poor decisions with food, making poor decisions with alcohol, and similar to what we actually spoke about on the podcast yesterday, when you are on a certain frequency, when you are on a vibration, you are attracting people into your life that are also like that. So then I was attracting people that were just no good. Friendships, again, relationships, stuff like that. Doing jobs, surrounding myself with colleagues that weren't also in line with my values. Um, so I ended up getting into a relationship that just wasn't for me. Gained a lot of weight and was just, I think, when I look back on it now, it's so much more than just like eating crap. Like we all eat to a certain degree. I believe everybody binges on stuff and everybody has, a poor understanding of food. But for me, I think it was neglect. Like I was neglecting my body. I was punishing my body. I was trying to mask whatever wasn't dealing with, basically. And how it actually started was one of my friends had lost a lot of weight with an online coach. And I was at a point where I think in this relationship where I just hit rock bottom. I just wasn't happy. Like none of my clothes were fitting. Like I was trying to tell myself I was getting in a size 12 and the size 12s were tight. And I'm quite a small person. I'm short. So when like to some people a size 12 is like a dream. I coach women and their goals are to be size 12. But for me, I was bigger than what I wanted to be. I'd come from a dancing background, so I went to musical theatre college for 3 years. And with that, bought a lot of like poor body image, which I think maybe stemmed the start of it. Because when you're in dance and music and stuff, they try to shrink you. You need to be lean, you need to have no hips, no boobs, no shape, straight up and down. It was never like that. So I think I tried to I think I maybe rebelled against it almost. But again, there was a lack of like education when I was there. Like nobody ever really told you what you should be eating. It was just don't eat this, which was anything really. So yeah, so my friend had lost a lot of weight and she was like, you should just join, like you should just like get involved with it. I had no idea what online coaching was. Like I thought that she was just gonna like, I don't know, watch me on Zoom or something while I was in the gym. Like I had no understanding of what it was. Um, and I had this call and I just remember like breaking down and being like, I think she asked me like, are you happy? And I was like, no, really not. Really not happy. I don't feel confident. I don't feel like myself. I don't feel attractive. Um, like I just didn't feel nice. And also I was then kind of putting that out to other people. So I started to get quite bitter and I just wasn't a nice person, to be honest, to be around. Um, but I fully invested myself into this. And I was actually the opposite. So this was during lockdown. So during lockdown, I started to lose weight, whereas most people, I think, were the opposite. Um, so I started this in lockdown and I was doing like home workouts. I was going out and doing like 15, 16,000 steps a day, just like really invested myself into it. So I think when the gyms reopened in like May or June, I'd already lost probably about a stone and a half. So it took time, like, you know, these results didn't just happen overnight. I had to work hard for it. Um, and of course, there was a physical transformation. Of course, my clothes started to fit better, my body shape changed, my skin got better, like my relationship with food was better. But for me, it was the byproducts of exercise and the byproducts of what, by changing my body, I then had self-belief. I then had more self-worth. I believed that I was capable and that I could do something. And the confidence that came with that then made me check in with the people around me, the job that I was doing. And that's a really hard thing, like it's a hard pill to swallow. And I have this conversation a lot with a lot of my clients and other people that sometimes you've created a life that you didn't want. Um, and this was like, I literally lost a stone and a half. I should feel amazing. And I was actually like, I just don't feel in alignment anymore with the people around me. Um, it was yeah, so that was kind of like the start of how I got into fitness. And then from there I progressed, went into the gym, lost a lot more weight within I had a coach for around about 18 months. After the first year, I changed to a different coach. Again, it's so normal, like you're gonna have people that are in line with your values and coaches that aren't. And then started to study to be a personal trainer because I was like, I just love this. And I loved how she had transformed my life. And I think my goal was to do the same. So started doing my online personal training courses and kind of had a huge reality check with the relationship that was in, the career that I was in. When I'd initially left drama school, I went over to Mallorca and did a season over there. So I worked for TUI, the entertainment company. And basically then one of my friends was working as a fitness instructor for TUI. And I was like, oh, well, if I'm doing my PT courses, like maybe that opens that door. So ended up getting a job overseas again with TUI. So this was like just after COVID, when obviously the hotels opened again. So I, to cut a very long story short, left my relationship, left our flat, left the job that I was in, and this all happened in like literally 6 weeks. Moved back home, and then 6 weeks later moved over to Turkey for 8 months. And then from there worked my way up to be like a daytime manager. So I took care of like all the fitness instructors and health and wellness classes within like 5-star resorts. I worked in Turkey for 2 seasons, did Egypt, Mallorca, Cape Verde was my last season. So last year, beginning of last year was the last contract that I did with TUI. And then in 2024, was that last year? Yeah, it was. Last year, 20, just the Christmas before, so 2020, back in 2023, launched Feel Your Best with the intention of basically like taking on a few clients, going to Cape Verde, doing it like part-time, and then actually potentially doing summer in Greece. And again, just building and building. And in the first month, I took on something like 7 clients, and then in February, took on another 4. So I'd got like 11 clients, and I was like, hold on, like I can make this work, like full time. And it was scary because I was like, oh, maybe I'll just get a part-time job. Maybe I'll just like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, no, like put all your eggs in one basket and just see what happens. You can always apply for a part-time job if it doesn't work out. But it did. Everything just went like it just went boom basically. But I think because I'd always shared my journey on social media, I've been very open and honest. In total now I've lost like nearly 3 stone, well just over 3 stone actually now. Um got into running, which I always said, to be fair, even when I worked for TUI, we used to have like running classes and I would always be like, don't ever make me run, like that's not my thing. Started running in January last year, like was struggling to get around park runs, doing 5Ks. And then this year have completed 3 half marathons, setting up a charity event in Southeast Asia. So we're running Australia and Southeast Asia. So yeah, it's crazy. Like, and I do believe that if you put your mind to something, like you can do it. Um, and I think on body image and appreciation for me, I get that running's not for everyone. Like it isn't, and it wasn't for me. And I think you have to get to a place where you can mentally get there. But I learned so much more about my body through running than I did from strength training. Similar to yoga, where it was like kind of just letting go of like being perfect, letting go of doing exercise to look a certain way. It was more like actually my body is fit, my body is strong, my body is healthy. Like I wanted to get faster, not leaner. And if that meant eating more food, I would eat more food. So then I started to fuel my body to perform well rather than starving my body to lose weight or eating enough protein so that I would have bigger shoulders or bigger glutes. Like it no longer became about aesthetics. And also when you're running, like you just you vile like you are, you're just so hot and sweaty, like, and it, honestly I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and even like down to like when you go to the gym, you wear like a nice gym outfit, you've got like little shorts on, a nice sports bra. No, you need a sports bra that's literally going to strap your chest down, and you need shorts that aren't going to give you chub rub. Like there is no there's nothing glamorous about running, but again you get that appreciation of like I don't need to wear amazing clothes all the time. I don't need to have the newest gym sets. I just need to go out and move. And the high that you get from running, of course, yes, it's hard. Like anything that you want in life is hard. But I learned so much more about my body and appreciated my body more from running than did strength training. So yeah, in a nutshell, I'm sure you'll want to pick parts of that apart. But in a nutshell, that's kind of what's got me to where I am now. And I've now coached over 100 women, transformed their lives through health, fitness, wellness. But I specialise in mental health and exercise coaching. So I did my MHEC course in January. And this again just completely transformed the way that I coach women. And it was just so in line with my values. Like the goal within Feel Your Best is to transform your mind and body. You can't have one without the other.
First of all, that was just so beautiful to listen to, because I just like started tearing up with what you were saying, because the amount that you've created within just over a year, I think it is, with Feel Your Best is absolutely incredible. And that comes down to your commitment to yourself of just going, I know that I can do this, because you believed in yourself, and the amount of work that you've done on yourself through your exercise and your mindset work to get to who you are today has been the thing that's made you successful. And who even cares that much about success? It's more about the fact that you've been able to help so many people as well at the same time. And that just literally is the best thing that I can hear anyone say, that has just gone all in on themselves, all in on their business, and have created their dream life basically. Obviously we're always continuously improving on our dream lives and ourselves, but the fact that you just went all in makes me so happy, and the amount of people that you've transformed already is just amazing. And I think that's why we align so much and why we've connected recently, because you help people mentally and physically. It's not just about the physical, because I think people are starting to realize that we are interconnected with our minds, with our bodies, with our soul. It's bigger than just the physical, which we've been taught to just see life in the physical way since a child. So I'm just so proud of you, and just it's amazing to see your journey, and I'm so excited to continue on to your next journey as well. Tell us more about that, because I feel like you've took us on your journey over the past few years, but I know you're about to make a big transition as well. So tell us more about what you're doing next.
Yeah, so I had this conversation with you yesterday as well about it's been an emotional few days. Like I feel like I've not cried this much for such a long time. It's a weird one. So we are basically relocating to Southeast Asia, and we will be visiting Australia as well next year. So this has been something like I've wanted to do for a very long time. When I left working for TUI, it was a very hard decision because travel had been a huge part of my life. And although I love to travel, I love and I need to feel grounded, I need to feel rooted, I need to feel like I've got a home or a base, which is one of the reasons why I never worked on cruise ships. People always used to say, why would you never go on a cruise ship? And I was like, I literally can't cope with being here, there, and everywhere. I needed to be rooted and I get very seasick. But
Yeah.
anyway, so my fear with this was always going to be like, okay, we're traveling around, but because I'm working and obviously running the business, we're going to have more of a base. So we're going to be spending a lot of time. So we're going all over Southeast Asia and then into Australia, New Zealand in the new year. So yeah, it's exciting, it's scary, and it's taken like for me, this was a dream that could happen in 5 years. So the fact that it's happened, and I've not had the business for 2 years yet, is crazy. Obviously still working while we're out there, but yeah, it's exciting. And I feel like with the business as well, a lot of people have asked me like, how will it work with running a business and being over there? Like I've got clients that I've never met in person. I work with women like I've got women in Spain, I had a lady in Germany, like Australia, like they're all over the country and all over the world. So it doesn't feel too much. Obviously, I've got friends and clients that I'm close to at home, but yeah, it won't make too much of a difference as everything is mostly run online. Um, so
That
yeah.
is a question I was literally going to ask you. I was like, so what's going to shift within the business? Is it anything? And obviously, time zone wise will be a bit different, but it doesn't really make a difference when it's an online coaching. So tell me more about what you actually do for people with your online coaching. Is it something that people have to sign up for a certain amount of time? And like what actually goes on? Like, how do you actually help people transform their physical and mental health?
Yeah. So it depends obviously on the initial goal. I mostly work with women, mostly between the ages of like 25 and 45, but that isn't just subject to like I work with some younger girls and my oldest client's 63. So it's not just subject to that age group. Mostly people come to me who are feeling lost. They've probably tried multiple fad diets, they're trying to shrink themselves, starve themselves, and are just pretty lost with what to do, what to eat, how to exercise. They're often lacking in confidence. So self-image, again, similar to how I felt, just don't feel attractive. Maybe the relationship is not going as smoothly as it was a few years ago. I work with mums as well, just people that are feeling stuck, lost, but they have something in them that knows that they can change. They have something within them that knows that they see the potential. They know that they can be better. They just need a guide and a support to help them get to there. Like I say, most of the goals are fat loss. I do work with women that also want to gain weight, and also like get stronger and leaner. Um, Mostly it starts like this, and then people progress. Most people come with a fat loss goal, and then it turns into like, I want to run a half marathon. So they start, it's a journey. When you first get somebody into the program, often if you mention running to them, they'll like run a mile away. So it's very slowly as we get there. Um, how the program is kind of structured. So it's a minimum of a 3 month program, between 3 months and 6 months, depending on their initial like sign up and obviously what their goals are. If people have a slightly bigger fat loss goal, we may look at the 6 month option. Most people tend to roll the 12 weeks. So like I've got clients that have been with me since literally January when I started the business, like, and they're still with me. We build a community. We are a girlhood, we're a sisterhood. Like we support each other. You are not alone. Like you will have friends virtually that you've probably never met. And then when we do our bi-yearly or whatever meetup, you know each other, even though you've probably never met. So it's about being part of something bigger than you, really. Um, how we kind of structure the program is we look at your daily habits. So if you want to change your life, you need to look at the things that you're doing every single day. So we look at negative self-talk, how are you speaking to yourself on a daily basis. Some people that might look like journaling. For some people, that comes further down the line. It's obviously dependent to each person. We look at, on the physical side, we look at water, we look at steps, we look at daily movement. Supplements, not so much, that kind of comes from nutrition, really. We look at evening routines, morning routines. What's your sleep looking like? How can we make changes to create a better evening routine so you sleep better, so you wake up and feel happier? Nutrition, we look at balanced diet. I don't agree with kind of fad diets. Every coach is different. Some people will program meal plans. For me, I look more at getting you to eat balanced, eating in a calorie deficit, teaching you what to eat. So within the program, people receive like recipe books. There are meal plans you can follow, but I try to advise people to like tune into their body and listen to how their body responds to food. Everyone's body is going to respond differently, and what works for me won't work for you. So, for example, if I'm saying to you, right, you need to eat oats, for example, you might not agree with oats. I struggle really badly with oats. Like if I have oats, I'm so bloated. But I can eat bread. A lot of people can't eat bread. So it's like kind of everybody's body is different, but it's getting you to be aware of how food makes you feel. So when we're eating processed food, when we're eating lots of like what we call flex food, so anything that's not kind of whole, so chocolates, crisps, fast food, processed food, things like that, we're lowering our frequency as well. So when you eat rubbish, you're going to feel rubbish. When you eat fresh, whole, seasonal food, you're going to feel fresh, you're going to feel energized. So they're the kind of key components in terms of training that's tailored towards what the goals are. For most women, it looks like strength training, whether that's in the gym or at home. We focus more on steps than endless amounts of cardio, unless obviously running is a goal. So that's kind of how we structure it. Within the program, once a month, we have like online workshops, so the guys can join in with live calls, and we do workshops on nutrition, on training, on a lot of mindset coaching, I would say, goes into the online workshops. But something that I think is very different, which is one of the reasons why I started the podcast actually, was because sometimes people couldn't always join in for the workshops. And although they were recorded, to sit down and watch it back was taking a lot of time. So we still do the online workshops. The podcast is now just an added extra. But I think what's different is when you look at other online coaches and the structure of the program. And again, this isn't me slating other coaches, like what works, the kind of women that I work with probably wouldn't benefit from other structure and vice versa. Like we do cacao ceremonies, we do EFT, like, and some of the women that join these calls as well, I'm like, go into this with an open mind. Like, if you've never done EFT or you've never had done a cacao ceremony or even know what I'm talking about, because again, these are just words to people that like, I don't understand what that is. Is it just like hot chocolate? I'm like, kind of, but you'll cry a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
From music to my ears, hearing that you incorporate those type of things, because that's bringing in, it's not really a spiritual element, but it's more about connecting deeper to yourself, and that's all it is. And some people can be scared of doing that because of what might come up, and that's where people start to see the shifts even more. That is one thing I want to ask you as well, actually. With all of the things that you've just said, it sounds absolutely amazing, by the way, and like I'm even like I want to join this. What is it that you have found that has been the most successful for people out of all of those things that you said? I know it's a very like integrated whole approach,
Yeah.
but if there's something that you could give as an advice to someone on this podcast that is looking to get leaner and feel better about themselves mentally as well, so the physical and the mental side, what is the thing that you would recommend for them that's the most effective?
It's very difficult to say because you can't. Part of me would initially go with exercise because I truly believe that movement is medicine in any capacity. Like, if you cannot feel depressed in motion, like if you are moving, you are going to be feeling good, whether that's walking, running, strength training, doing a yoga class, doing just something. I would encourage everybody to be walking. Like, if you're thinking, I can't go into a gym, I haven't got time for this, da 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 da, like walk. We all have time to walk, even if it's 10 minutes. Like, you don't need to go out for hours, you don't need to walk for miles. Just find those pockets of time within the day and go out, and something is always better than nothing. However, you cannot out exercise a bad diet. So if your goal is to lift your mood, feel more energized, feel happier, exercise is definitely the first place to start. But if you are doing all of these things and still then going and eating at McDonald's and then having like Nutella on toast for breakfast and then like just carbs for lunch, you're not going to feel good. So I would say look at your nutrition, and just like, you don't need to cut everything that you enjoy out. It is about balance. Like, if a question, I shared this on my story actually the other day, like a question with anything that you're doing, whether it comes to fat loss, like ask yourself the question, can I sustain this for the rest of my life? And if the answer is no, stop doing it. Because if you are on a diet that consists of just eating boiled eggs, like you can't eat boiled eggs for the rest of your life. And essentially all you're doing is putting yourself in an extreme calorie deficit anyway. So you might as well eat the foods that you enjoy. However, prioritize whole foods. So just make sure that 80% of your diet is coming from whole, fresh foods, 20% of your diet is coming from flex foods. Like a pizza on a weekend isn't going to undo all your progress, but it might just stop you from overeating on a weekend even more so. So I would say check in with they're the kind of two things that if somebody was like, right, where do I start? I'd be like, start walking more. Also, this 10,000 steps a day thing, this isn't true. I would just look at what you're doing at the moment. So say like if you're walking 3,000 steps, just try and do 20% more. Like just push yourself to do a little bit more than what you're doing. If you're already walking 10,000 steps, and that's easy just because some people's jobs they're on the feet all day, maybe you go for like 12 to 15,000 steps, for example. Like just look at your lifestyle. Don't feel like you need to do something that's unrealistic, and your nutrition as well, because they go hand in hand.
Yeah, I love everything you said there because it's such an individual approach. So I love how you're using like percentages of what it is that you're doing already that's then not going to overwhelm you by just the structure that you've got in your program. It's like, tell me what you're doing now and let's see if we can just increase that slightly so that it doesn't then become overwhelming and you just completely stop doing anything.
Yeah.
So with that as well, obviously you're not literally making people put in this effort. You are obviously motivating them. How are you keeping people that accountable who maybe don't have motivation or drive to do this?
Yeah. This is something that I repeat so often. Like, we do not need motivation to do something. And the best way to describe this, right, is you do not feel motivated every morning to go and brush your teeth, right? But you do it because if you don't, like, yeah, it's not great.
Breath.
Bad breathing, and then you're probably gonna have to have your teeth taken out. Just like exercise and diet, like yeah, you can neglect it for as long as you want, but you're gonna get overweight, you're gonna get health conditions, and you're gonna make yourself ill. So you do not need motivation to do something. What you need is a little bit of self-discipline, and what that comes from is daily habits. That takes time. That takes training your mindset. Like I honestly believe that you can go on into like now everything's AI. You can go on AI and you can get a training plan, you can get a meal plan, right? But you're not going to follow it because the problem is not that you don't know what to do. Everybody knows what to do. Like we all know that McDonald's is bad for us. Like we know that fruit and veg is healthy. We know that walking is good for us and sitting on the couch isn't. Like we know that. The problem is that we're not doing it. And that is all through mindset. So that's why I think people invest and benefit from having a coach. How I kind of structure it, again, it's very individualized to each person. Some people just get it straight away, like the mindset just comes. And I think this is down to your deeper rooted reason. So on every consultation call, I will ask people like, why are you doing this? Why is it important to you that you now change your life? And if the goal is to wear a bikini on holiday, probably not going to stick to it. If the why is because they are genuinely like not feeling sexy for their partners and that they're struggling to feel nice, the fact that they're hating having their photos taken with their children, the fact that they literally want to cry every time they see the reflection in the mirror, then they're going to stay committed to it and they're going to do it. And sometimes it is having to do that inner work and work out why you are doing this and find that intrinsic reason to why this is important to you. Um, but in terms of like accountability from my side within the program, if that's what you mean, like we have a day, I have my own app. So on the app, they have like a daily to-do list that they tick off every single day. I can view their food diary live. I can view their workouts live. So when they complete the workouts, they fill it all in on the app, press save, and then I can see it all. So also if like it gets to the end of the day and someone's not like ticked off that they've done their water, I'll be like, okay, why is this not happening? Like what's happening there? Not in a horrible way, like I don't tell people off because often if they've not done it, there's a reason, but it's just bridging that gap between like who they are now and who they want to be ultimately.
I love that as well, because I think what's really important for the mind is to have certain things that either you need to look at every day for your mind to see that the thing that you're doing is working on the mindset, on the physical body, but also to keep yourself accountable. If you're not really tracking anything, then you just forget that you're actually making any progress. And I know that my work is a lot about the self-love and internal work and inside changes more so than the physical, but that just kind of naturally comes with it, with the work I do. And if people aren't tracking what they're doing, they start questioning, is this even working? Like, I don't feel like I'm seeing anything. If they maybe haven't taken a picture, or if they haven't wrote about how they felt before the program compared to after, and things like that. So I love that you've implemented those certain things into it, as well as bringing a nice compassionate approach, knowing that sometimes we're going to fall off things, and sometimes we just need a bit of extra motivation from somebody else, or just a bit of like a loving talk to be like, come on now, let's stop making the excuses, let's get going. One thing that actually, that even though I'm not a mum, that you spoke about earlier, was that you do work with mums. And I think there's a lot of mums out there that struggle because they then just use that excuse of being like, oh, I've got children, like I have to put all of my energy now into them. And then they end up feeling even more depleted, even more like just worse about themselves. What advice would you give to them that you think that they need to hear with taking care of themselves?
You can't pour from an empty cup. And I think I'm also not a mom. And, people probably listen to this and go, oh, it's easy for them to say. They don't know. And it's like, no, but I have seen this firsthand with women that I've worked with. And often the reason that women struggle, and again, this is from speaking with people, like I've seen this firsthand, they struggle because they feel guilty for leaving and taking that time for them. Because as a mother's instinct, you want to be there for your child all the time, you know? And the problem with that is that then they become tired, they become stressed, they become snappy, they become aggravated, they don't like who they are, they don't put the time and effort into themselves, even just getting up and putting clean clothes on, or doing your hair, or doing your makeup, or whatever. Like, these are all acts of self-care. And also, you have to think, like, your children see you do this, you lead by example. Like, if your children are seeing that you're not putting time and effort into you, they will also feel that. If they feel that you're stressed, they're going to feel that. Like, they feel everything on such a deep level. I've got clients who it's taken time. Like, I remember the first lady that I worked with, and we had set our home workouts, and the workouts should have been about 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. And it was like she was completing them in like 20 minutes. And I was like, are you like skipping the exercises? And she was like, no, I'm skipping the rests. And I was like, why? And she was like, because I feel bad because my son's in the other room, and he's like in the kitchen with his dad. And I'm like basically in here doing this workout, wanting to, be in there with him. And I was like, look, what you are doing is putting that time into you. And I know that it feels hard to start with, but it will get easier. And also think about when he starts school, who's going to win sports day? You are, because you're putting that time and effort into you. And now she's in a place where, like, she'll be doing her home workout, doing her squats, and her little boy's doing it with her. So he sees that, and she's a happier person, and she's just a more pleasant person to be around. She feels more confident within herself. So her relationship with her husband has improved. And also, one of her biggest goals was that she could go on holiday with her children and have a photo taken and not delete it. Because she said the year before they'd gone on holiday, she'd had photos on the beach taken with a little boy, and she deleted them because she hated how she looked. And they're memories. And it is hard, like, it's really hard. I've got clients that, they're up at 5 o'clock in the morning downstairs doing a home workout before the kids get up, and they're putting that time into them so that they can then put that time into everybody else. Like, you've got people that depend on you when you're a mom, and you have to be the best version of yourself. Not every day, that's unrealistic, but if you can do something that allows you to feel better, to give to them, and they see it, like, they lead by example. Like, we know this. Like, our personality traits, our habits have come from our parents. Like, when your parents are exercising a lot, you also exercise a lot.
100%. I think actually, and what I said in the podcast, on your podcast yesterday, was that the more that you're looking after other people, the more that you've got to look after yourself. And I think when you have children, my sister's a mother, so I can probably relate more so on that side of things, more so than myself, obviously. But as you say, because the children like amplify everything that you are already being, if you don't then shift and embody what you want to show them. I know that, for example, my mum, she always struggled with her self-worth and self-image, and that was kind of obviously projected onto me. Nothing against my mum, she's so beautiful, and I just always wish that she would see her amazing potential that she has and like her beauty. She would always tell me how gorgeous and amazing I am, but it wasn't embodied in her. And so I never really believed it about myself. And that's why I think doing the mindset and the body image work is so important to actually embody that, especially if you have children, even more so to take that time for yourself, because you're going to be overwhelmed, you're going to be tired, you've got all these things that you've got to add to your plate. But I always say, even if you just start with like 10 minutes to yourself of just being in silence, that is a self-care moment before you're tending to everything else. And also the guilt element that she felt within the rests in between her sets. So many women feel guilt of not putting other things before themselves. It's such a huge thing that even I've experienced and sometimes still do, and it's something I'm still working on. But you can kind of translate that into anything. Sometimes I might feel guilt if I'm resting, even though I've got loads of things I could probably be doing to improve my business and to help other people more. But then you have to just remind those thoughts that you don't need to grab onto them and like take action. Just sit with it and see what's there, over being impulsive and be like, if I don't keep this up, if I don't keep going, then everything's just going to fall apart. And it's just not that way. If anything, taking those ebbs and flow in life is what's going to help improve it, in my opinion.
100%. And I think as well, it's like delving into that reason. Like this is why I believe that you can't have one without the other when it comes to like physical and emotional health or spiritual health or mental health, whatever you want to label it as. Like the reason that you cannot stick to something is because of something that has happened in your past. And because you need, and that's not going to come from like, of course, yes, there's going to be things that are more realistic that will help you, but like I've worked with clients and I've given them the most basic of basic things to do. And it's like they just can't do it. And they've got time, they've got the time, they've got the perfect setup, but there's a reason why that's not happening. So that's why I think it's important to have this time and also work on your emotional, spiritual health, whatever that is, and delve into that reason why. I think a lot of people struggle sometimes to be open to that. I've got clients that will, like, again, have thrown themselves into doing yoga, have thrown themselves into like, cacao ceremonies, to journaling. Like they're like, right, I'm ready, let's just do it. Whatever you say, if you think it will help, I'll do it. And I've got women that are very closed off and they're like, well, it's just not my thing. And I always say to people like, yeah, but are you happy? Are you in peace? How's what you're doing now working for you? Like, what have you got to lose? And you could probably answer this better than me, because I'm like, why do people not just want to sit there and do some breath work? Is it because and this is my opinion, but I don't know. This is just from how I can, when I put myself into that position. Also, there was probably a time where I was like the same. Like, I asked a woman once and she said, I just feel uncomfortable. I just feel silly. And I'm like, is that because they can't accept what they're feeling? Is it because they're almost like embarrassed and feel silly because they don't want to, like, I don't know, like accept how they feel, or they feel like if they feel it, they're going to feel a certain way. I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like there's deeper answers to that, but a lot of it is to do with the ego being
Yeah.
scared to lose its job, because oh my gosh, if I actually somatically release all of this emotion that's stuck in my body, I will lose my job of trying to protect myself and keep myself in my comfort zone. So anytime that you're feeling a little bit of resistance to something, I always say give it a go, because that's where you're going to actually expand and grow. And even
Mhm.
if you still don't like it and you don't see any shifts from it, then that's fine, you've learned that. But it is generally the ego that's trying to keep you safe where you are, because the brain goes, oh, but we've been the same our whole lives, like we don't know who we are if we actually do change. And so usually it is the mind that's holding you back from that. So
Yeah.
you were
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes when I like have done this before in like sleep workshops and stuff, and I've been like, just close your eyes. People are like, oh, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not bothered about that. And I think, why? Just do it. You'll feel relaxed.
I understand though, because I think it takes, like with anything, it has to be builded upon in a foundation, like step after step, whether that's growing your finances, growing your business. It's hard for the nervous system and your body and your mind to grasp going from like a seed all the way to like a big tree all in like
Yeah.
one day, for example. So I know for me, I used to have resistance about doing sound baths for some reason. And I used to be like, oh, I feel like that's just a bit too woo-woo for me. This was obviously a few years ago now, and I absolutely love them now. But then when I actually went, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just you're listening to sound and you're just laying there listening to sound, and it feels amazing for your body. Why did I have resistance to this? And it's because my mind just thought it might look weird to other people. A lot of it does come back to that fear of what other people will think of us as well.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think a lot of when I with women that I work with as well, when we look at the gym, there's a huge resistance to going into the gym because I think it's the fear of like, well, what if I look silly? What if people are staring at me? What if people are talking about me or whatever? And something that I've actually learned in the last, especially in the last year and a half, I would say, like, there's more women in the gym sometimes than men.
Yes, I agree.
And women are lifting heavier than the men. Seen that as well. So,
Okay.
like, if someone's listening to this and you're like, oh God, I can never go into the gym, like, it's not what it used to be. Like, it has
True.
changed completely. And I would also say, which is quite controversial, I advise people not to just go to women-only gyms. I think if you've got a deep-rooted reason and you feel genuinely like really uncomfortable around men, then that's different. But I think like if you're gonna go, just go and don't let a man kind of put you off going into a gym. Like it's totally fine. So I'm a bit controversial when it comes to these women only gyms because I feel, yes, it's creating a space, but it's also just feeding into that fear. Like you're not actually dealing with that. And like, yes, of course, there are going to be weird men everywhere. Like, but that's everywhere. Like, I think it is what it is. And also, I don't believe this for a second that as a woman, you have not seen a guy in the gym and gone, okay,
Yes.
you know, just put, I mean, obviously not like staring, there's a difference, but like I'll hold my hands up. We've been there, women, like we have. So I think, yeah, but again, that is kind of down to an ego thing as well. Like there's a difference between someone literally staring at you, making you feel uncomfortable, and like, yeah, okay, So I think that would be another piece of advice that I would give to people. If you can get into the gym and you can give yourself a space to go and exercise, I would definitely recommend doing it.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I think a lot of women for many years have had resistance to going to the gym, haven't they? For that reason.
Yeah,
But
it's a
it's
masculine
also,
space. Yeah.
yeah, but it's also bringing up our feminine wounds that we have against the masculine
Yep.
sometimes as well. I mean, no, I know both of us have gone through certain issues with relationships in the past that has given me sort of trauma with men, and having to like learn to trust them again and find evidence in my mind as to that there is nice lovely men out there, and there really is. And I think that the women only gyms, sometimes there is obviously a balance, and it's, you could start there and then work your way up to like collaborating together. But I think men and women have been pitted against each other for so long that we need to actually just start to come to union a bit more. And
Yeah.
when you get that emotion, like you say, that you might feel a bit nervous about being around men, it's getting yourself to feel more comfortable in yourself, no matter who's around you. Obviously, to a certain extent, if you're really being perved on, or like you just feel so uncomfortable, like obviously have discernment and make sure you're safe.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I totally agree with that. I think as well, this resistance with like men and women is there. But yeah, it's just being open to that. And I think as well, it's like you say, like if there's resistance there, that's when you do it. That's when you just push to try something new.
Yeah. And obviously, like we said, it depends on everyone's circumstances. And that's why coaching with Emma, like one-to-one as well, is going to help you to see if you're literally feeling like it's your intuition telling you not to do something, or whether it's your mind holding you back from actually progressing and taking up that next step towards your next level self as well. So thank you so much, Emma, for your amazing talks today. Like, it's been so nice to have this conversation with you, and it's going to be so helpful for everybody. I do have a couple more questions just to like start to round off the episode. First one is, what would you say to your younger self that you think that she needs to hear that probably would resonate with everyone as well?
I would just say, whatever you're thinking of doing, just do it from a place of love. Do it from a place of like, if your heart is telling you to do something, just do it. And whatever decision you make, it will be the right one if you've done it from your heart. And even if it goes wrong, like, it will work out. Like, and I think, oh, I have two things. And I think the second thing I would say is people are going to have negative opinions about you, regardless of what you do. And you've got to be okay with that because you're not meant to resonate with everyone, and that's fine. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. That one really resonated with me. So thank you.
Mhm.
So where can everybody find you if they want to work with you one-to-one or just find out more about what you do? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can follow the Feel Your Best page on Instagram. So it's feelyourbest_UK. Here we share like lots of like client journeys. Also in the link in the bio, there's like a consultation link, or just message the page if you want to like book in a free call or have a chat, or if you've got any questions, just reach out on there. Also share just lots of content on the page as well, tips, tricks, advice, things like that. So yeah, that's the kind of main page. We've got the Feel Your Best website as well, but if you have any direct inquiries, you can reach me on Instagram.
Thank you so much. I'll pop all of that in the show notes as well so people can just click on the links. Thank you so much, Emma. It was lovely to have you. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And I shall see you again for another podcast episode soon. Take care.